Hello everybody and welcome back to Full House Sports. Here myself Charlie, and before the video starts, please like, comment and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated as I try to become a one-man sports news bandwagon. Now, I did a video the other day saying, or it was titled, "The Civil War in Boxing Has Begun," and it very much has begun. It feels like we're getting announcement after announcement after announcement. It is a crazy time in the sport at the moment, and as boxing fans, we are being treated to both action in and mainly out of the ring at the moment. So first things first, I think it's important to get into it. Conor Benn has announced that they have announced that Conor Benn will be on the undercard of the Tyson Fury Arslanbek Makhmudov fight. He's faced off against Prograis, former 140-pound or super lightweight champion. Gotta say, as an opponent goes, I'm not that bothered about it, to be honest. I'm actually quite disappointed. You know, when Conor Benn signed for Zuffa, you thought this is a huge announcement. There's going to be huge fights. I get getting him on Netflix, get that maximum exposure. He's already had that before with the Matchroom documentary, and with obviously his name as well, be it he gets exposure anyway. But to have him face off against a guy who, let's face it, last time was seen on these shores was defeated by Jack Catterall quite comfortably, I think is quite disappointing. And yeah, it's not a fight that I was expecting to hear or see. Whether this is just a tune-up on then onto bigger and better things, potentially Ryan Garcia later on in the year, I don't know. But listen, people who are fans of Zuffa will say, oh, well, they've got two of the biggest commercial stars in UK boxing on the same show, in Tyson Fury and Conor Benn. It's a massive show on Netflix. I think it will do really good numbers. And I think, as well, we'll probably see a spike in ticket sales. I think Fury Makhmudov may have been struggling to sell, to be honest with you. So it's massive. But like I say, a little bit disappointed that opponent choice. There's not a great deal of welterweights out there, really. I've said already the division's quite shallow. As well, I'm hearing that it's at a 150-pound catch weight. I'm not a fan of these mid divisions. If you can't do the weight anymore, just do super welter. That's a stacked division. Do a fight there, Conor Benn. Don't do this 150-pound against a guy who's small for welter. But whether it's just a case of finding an opponent, get Conor Benn looking good, and then the rest, as they say, is history, who knows. What also has been developing is the situation out of the ring, which I think has really been just development after development. We're hearing now Frank Warren is going to be taking Seller Group and Riyadh Season to the High Court for $1 billion in potential losses. Essentially, this dates back to the idea that he thought he had exclusivity rights to Riyadh Season cards, and now, due to, I think, the involvement of Zuffa, feels slightly squeezed out of this. We had that sort of confirmation made. We then had this utterly bizarre tweet that was put out by the Ring magazine, which of course is now owned by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, which essentially was a propaganda piece and a hit on Frank Warren, talking about Warren's company, Queensberry Promotions, being in financial danger, Wardley Dubois struggling to sell tickets, which of course a lot of people scoffed at because tickets haven't gone on sale yet. And it really felt like this was a bit of a hit on the publicity of Frank Warren. And it's a very intriguing development in boxing in what is happening out of the ring. Because I think we are now seeing a literal civil war begin for the control of boxing's future. In one corner, you've got this Saudi-backed venture with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, now Dana White and Zuffa Boxing and Nick Khan and TKO, bringing all their chips to the table, going up against the old guard of Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya perhaps as well in that boat. We know he doesn't really like Dana White. Al Heyman, I guess, would be there as well. We're seeing this sort of pitch battle now for the control of boxing's future. And it's very, very interesting. As someone who loves his sport and also his politics, his geopolitics, it is an intriguing development into this soft play. It's masterful from the soft play power book from the Saudi Arabians. You know, we've got a element of they own the Ring magazine, so they're putting out publicity, they're a mouthpiece, they're putting out propaganda for Riyadh Season, which used to be a highly respected boxing outlet, a highly respected boxing organisation. We've then got this scenario where it looks like there is other accounts as well who are maybe on the payroll of the UFC and Saudi Arabia. You only have to go through X and look at what people are tweeting and who's in which camp to see that there's a real divide developing in that sense as well. Listen, it's very, very interesting what's going to happen because, like I say, this is civil war now. This is war. And whether it's going to go through the high courts, that's an interesting development. It's going to be something that we're going to have to watch. I think anyone who knows how these things work know what's happening. I think another interesting development is Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn have broadcast deals with DAZN. DAZN is part owned by the PIF. The PIF put a lot of money into DAZN, which is why the Club World Cup ended up on DAZN. If you remember last summer, the PIF put a big sponsorship in that. If this does go to higher and higher, could we see Warren and Hearn lose their broadcast deals? That's the sort of level we're talking about here of how huge this is as a development in terms of boxing and what happens. For me as a Brit and as a boxing fan, Frank Warren is unbelievably the good guy in this. And this is a guy who's screwed fighters over a lot, but I think he is the good guy in this. And I hope that him, Hearn, Oscar, Al Heyman, Ben Shalom, whoever, can put themselves in a room and say, look, we need to do this for the good of boxing, because I don't want one entity owning boxing. As always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated as I try to become a one-man sports news bandwagon. As always, have a great day.